We so often picture confidence as something loud, boastful, or just totally hyped up, but true self-belief, it actually tells a completely different story. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to dive into the journey of quiet confidence. It's a literal inside-out transformation. We're talking about becoming unshakable, calm, and just incredibly sure of yourself. And spoiler alert, it doesn't come from empty motivation. It comes from deliberate, quiet action.
So I want to start by asking you a pretty intimate question. When was the last time you trusted yourself completely? Think about it. Most of us just assume we lack motivation when we don't reach a goal, right? But the real story is actually way deeper. We lack self-trust. Deep down in our guts, we remember all the promises we've broken to ourselves. We kind of know we can't be trusted to follow through. And it's that internal betrayal that literally destroys our confidence from the inside out. And honestly, it's a trap we all fall into. On one side, you have what we call loud ambition. That's when you set these massive, almost impossible daily goals. We try to overhaul our entire lives in a single Tuesday. And then when we inevitably fail, we're left feeling super guilty and inadequate. But on the exact opposite side is quiet integrity. True, rock-solid confidence that actually comes from the integrity of small promises that you actually keep to yourself.
Part 1. The secret of small promises. Let's see where this all begins. If you really want to rebuild that trust, you have to start with a promise so tiny you literally cannot fail. Take your sleep schedule, for example. Instead of promising to magically fix your entire routine forever starting tonight, just commit to sleeping half an hour earlier. That's it, from midnight to 11:30. Do it for just 1 month. After a few days, this absolute marvel happens in your brain. You start thinking, wait a second, I said I would do this, and I'm actually doing it. That is the exact moment self-trust is born. To put this into perspective, there's an incredible story from our source material. Imagine finding out your sugar levels are slightly elevated, even though you consider yourself a pretty conscious eater. It feels totally unfair, right? Well, instead of tackling some massive, impossible weight loss goal, this individual focused on a tiny daily promise, just tracking a calorie deficit via ChatGPT, and she did it for exactly 68 days in a row. It wasn't about some grand ambition, it was simply about daily, quiet integrity. And that brings us to this stark number, 3 kilograms. That number represents the incredible emotional milestone of that entire 68-day journey. Getting on that scale and seeing the number drop wasn't a moment of vanity for her. It was actually so powerful that she started crying right there, totally shocking her husband, who was sitting across the table. To the rest of the world, 3 kilos might seem small, but internally, it was a massive emotional triumph. She had earned her quiet self-belief. Because once you prove you can trust yourself in one small area, it spreads like wildfire to every other part of your life. Part 2. Curating your inner circle. Let's look at how this internal shift moves outward. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Man, that is a stark reality check, isn't it? But it's true. If you surround yourself with people who are afraid to speak up and are just terrified of new situations, you are going to slowly start shrinking too. You absolutely need honest friends who inspire you to grow. And hey, if certain friends fall away because you're evolving, it doesn't mean you failed. It simply means you outgrew the room. Part 3. Grooming as silent communication. Now think about the rapid-fire basics. Ironed clothes, clean shoes, neat hair, trimmed nails. This is absolutely not about chasing expensive designer brands or seeking external validation. Confidence actually starts speaking way before you ever open your mouth. By just presenting yourself cleanly, you're engaging in this awesome form of silent, controlled communication. You are literally telling the world, I care about myself, which immediately sets a boundary dictating how others are allowed to treat you. Part 4. Quiet boundaries, loud respect. This is absolutely crucial. Here is the hard truth. Confidence totally collapses where boundaries are weak. And disrespect, it can be incredibly insidious. The tone someone uses, or those little joking jabs at your expense, they matter. Because what you nervously laugh off today becomes the exact blueprint for how they will treat you tomorrow. But boundaries don't need to be aggressive or loud. Just a pause, a really firm look, or silently withdrawing your time and access is more than enough to completely shift the dynamic. And the beautiful part is, when you finally start enforcing these quiet boundaries, one of two things will inevitably happen. People will either rise up to meet your new standard of respect, or they will remove themselves from your life entirely. And guess what? Both of those outcomes are huge wins for your confidence. Remember, The only people who ever get upset when you stop tolerating disrespect are the ones who are quietly benefiting from you having no boundaries in the first place. Part 5. Action before feeling. Let's flip the script on how our brains work. We so often wait around to actually feel confident before we take action, right? But the story actually plays out in reverse. By utilizing really simple, kind lines with yourself like, "I've got this," or "I'm going to do well," you're quietly communicating with your brain. You are actively collecting evidence that you can handle intimidating situations. And over time, the pretending just stops, and you begin to actually feel the genuine, undeniable belief that you belong exactly where you are. This completely rewrites the whole narrative we have about bravery. Courage is not the absence of fear. Think about it. If nothing could go wrong and you had literally nothing to lose, you wouldn't even need to be brave. Requiring courage means you are scared, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Courage is just the judgment that something else is more important than your fear. Act brave long enough, and one day you'll wake up and realize you aren't acting anymore. Part 6. The body language switch. The outermost layer of our journey. Did you know your body signals confidence physically way before it ever registers mentally? Your spine acts as a literal confidence switch. Going from a rounded, slumped back to a straight back might seem like a tiny little adjustment, but the impact is massive. Flipping that switch upright instantly changes how relaxed you feel in your own head, and it completely alters how authoritative and present you appear to the entire room. Because the body leads and the mind follows, what you do with your hands is super critical. When people can't see your hands, like when you bury them deep in your pockets, they actually subconsciously trust you less. It's a proven behavioral reality. By keeping your hands visible and using open gestures, you silently create comfort and trust in the people around you. And when you perceive that they trust you, it feeds right back into your own brain, reinforcing your self-assurance. It's a fantastic feedback loop. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a moment right now. Look at how you are sitting or standing at this very second. What is your body telling the world about your inner self? Are you commanding respect, or are you quietly shrinking away? Remember, quiet confidence is not a magical trait you're just born with. It's a house you build small promise by small promise. So what is the one small promise you are going to keep today?